electric field by changing magnetic field here. So this is a magnetic field here. This is not uniform. It is changing with respect to time. So this field is non-uniform field. Either it may increase or decrease with the time. In this, let me keep one conducting loop. Any metallic loop here. So this is a conducting loop which is placed in the time varying magnetic field. So this is a conducting loop. In this loop, it has free electrons. Remember students, whenever a charge has some velocity, then the force experienced by this charge is given by VQV. That means the magnetic force will be experienced by a charged particle only if it has velocity. But here, in any conducting loop, already we discussed in electric current, if you take any conductor, the conductor will have free electrons and these free electrons have random motion. Due to random motion, this electron may move in this direction, it may move in this direction, it may move in this direction, it may move in this direction. So different electrons will move in different directions. So due to this, what is the random velocity or average random velocity of free electrons in a conductor? This is always, we should take it as 0. Now, if you keep a circular conducting loop here, any metallic circular conducting loop, it has so many free electrons. As it is a conducting loop, it will have so many free electrons. But these free electrons are moving in different directions randomly. That means all these electrons will have random motion. In this condition, if you consider any one electron, what is the average velocity of this single electron? Let us say V here. But what is the average velocity of all these electrons? The average velocity of all these electrons is always equal to 0. So as these electrons will have 0 velocity at an average, what is the magnetic force experienced by these electrons here? This will be equal to 0 as velocity is equal to average velocity which is equal to 0. Due to this 0 velocity, the magnetic force experienced by these charged particles will become 0. That means these electrons will never move within this conductor due to the magnetic force. Whenever a charge is moving at rest, from rest, whenever a charge moves from rest, compulsory the force must be electric force only but not magnetic force. So only electric force can move the charge from one place to another place. So in this condition also, the electrons are moving within this one due to the electric field induced within this conducting loop. But how this electric field will be induced here? Here in this diagram you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can see 8 magnetic field lines are entering into the board. But it is not a uniform magnetic field, it is a non-uniform magnetic field. That means the magnetic field through this conducting loop, within this loop, either increases or decreases. Now it is 8, it may become 9, 10, 11, 12. Then dB is said to be increasing, B is said to be increasing. From 8 to 7, 6, 5, 4, then B is said to be decreasing. Let us say this is a time varying magnetic field. So time varying magnetic field. So that means I can write this as dB by dt is having some value. Generally, for a uniform magnetic field, dB by dt will be 0. That means with the time the magnetic field strength will not change. But here dB by dt is a non-zero value. It has some value. Now, what is the flux that is passing through this conducting loop? Flux is given by flux through conducting loop, phi is given by B into A. So what is this flux here? Phi is equal, the B is equal to B, which is given there. B is the uniform magnetic field induction into area is pi r square. Let us say r is the radius of this conducting loop. So this will become phi is equal to B pi r square. Differentiate this one, you will get d phi by dt will become, here B is changing the area is not changing, so you write this area as constant. So this d phi by dt, what is this d phi by dt? From Faraday's laws of induction, you can write this as minus E is equal to dB by dt into pi r square. So let me take this as equation 1. Now, after this, you can see by applying this Faraday's laws of induction, here the flux through the loop is increasing. That means the induced current will try to decrease the flux through this one. So here the flux is into the board. So the flux due to the induced current should be oppose this flux, so that the flux should be outside here. So for this the electrons will try to, that means positive charge will try to move in this direction. So here this is the direction of the induced current, this is the direction of the electric field here. But here if you see, if you apply the same rule here, this will be the direction of the electric field. So electric field is tangential here. From this we could say the electric field is tangential to the loop. E bar is tangential to the loop. So in this case, if this electron is considered here, that means positive charge is considered here, as it is the direction of flow of the current, this is the direction of flow of the positive charge. So the direction of flow of electrons will be opposite to this one. Now, what is the work done to move a charge q from here to here around this loop? Work done to move a charge q through the loop once around the loop. So work done is given by potential or EMF into the charge. The EMF induced is equal to E, the charge that is moving is Q. This is also equal to the force into displacement. As the displacement is very small, you can write it dl. If displacement is, if you are taking the entire this one, so the small work done is FDL, total work done will be integral FDL. So this is EQ is equal integral of, this F is given by force experienced by the charge Q, which is given by E induced into the charge Q into dl bar. Now you can cancel this Q and Q. So the EMF induced in this case is equal to integral of E bar dot in into dl bar. What is this dl bar? E bar is the induced EMF in this one. This in EMF, this E in this induced electric field. This electric field is not because of a point charge that we discussed in the electrostatics. In the electrostatics, if we take a charge here Q at a distance r, the electric field is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. This electric field is different from this electric field. This is the induced electric field here. Now from this you can write E induced into integral dl bar. What is the integral dl bar? Dl bar, well, you will get the total circumference of the circular loop, which is given by E integral 2 pi r. So this is equation 2. Here I got EMF induced is equal to dB by dt pi r square. But if you write this one, this will be E induced into 2 pi r. Now compare these two equations you will get. By comparing equation 1 and 2, I am going to write in place of E minus of this E will be induced electric field into 2 pi r into 2 pi r. That is minus E induced into 2 pi r. This is from equation 2, which is equal to dB by dt into pi r square. Now cancel pi and r here. So you will get E induced is equal to dB by dt into r by this 2 will go there. So minus. So this induced EMF is negative here. Why it is negative means it will always oppose the magnetic field, the rate of magnetic field here according to Lenz law. Now, what is the difference between the electric field that we studied in electrostatics and the electric field that is induced here? This is induced electric field. For ordinary electric field that we studied due to a point charge, if you take a positive charge, the electric field lines will start from positive charge and they are going to end on negative charge. Let us say this is negative charge. So these lines will travel like this, they will end on the surface of the negative charge. But here, the electric field is, let us say if you take here, it is in this direction, here it is in this direction, here it is in this direction. So this is a continuous electric field. The main difference between the electric field produced by point charge and the electric field produced by this changing magnetic field is, this is a continuous electric field. Generally, the electric field cannot be continuous, but the magnetic field is continuous, but electric field can be continuous in case of the electric field produced due to the changing electric field here, changing magnetic field here. That's why there is a lot of difference between that electric field and this electric field. The first point is the induced electric field due to the changing magnetic field is continuous. The second point, this is the first point. The second point, it is not a conservative field. It is not a conservative field. Whereas in case of this electric field produced by point charge, that is conservative force. So as it is conservative force, the work done to move a charge around a loop, around a circumference will be 0 there, but here it is not 0. So it is not a conservative force or a field here. That means work done over a closed loop is not 0, not equal to 0. So this is how we can produce an induced electric field by changing the magnetic field, and the expression to find out this induced electric field in this case is equal to the rate at which the field is changing with the time into radius of that loop by 2. So this is the expression. Suppose in the same case, in previously it was given in JEE Advanced also, they have given this one and they are asking to find out the electric field induced here at this distance. And now you can write the same expression. E induced is equal to minus dV by dt by r by 2. But here the integral dl will be, this is not equal to 2 pi r, this is 2 pi capital R, because circumference of this big circular path is equal to, so here I am going to write E is equal to integral of E induced into 2 pi r will be directly I can write the expression, this is 2 pi r, and this must be equal to dB by dt into pi r square. So this value only through this one, because flux is changing only through this loop here. So this will be dB by dt by pi r square, dB by dt into pi r square. This pi and pi get cancelled. So induced electric field in that case outside the loop. That means electric field can be induced even outside the loop, not only within the loop. So this can be given as dB by dt. I am taking only the magnitude, that's why I am not taking the minus sign here. dB by dt into r square by 2r. Shows two circular rings of radii A and B. So let us say the radius of this one is A and this is B. It is given that A greater than B. Made of wire whose resistance is lambda per unit length. If the field changing at some rate, that is dB by dt is equal to K, perpendicular to the loop, so determine the current induced in each case. So first let me take the first case here. This is case 1, this is case 2, this is case 3. In the first case, what is the flux through this one? Here flux is passing through this one as well as this one. This is a negligible area, so we should not consider this area. So the total flux in this case, case 1, flux is equal to magnetic field into area. The magnetic field is B and the area is pi into the area of this one, pi a square plus this is pi b square. So total area will be pi a square plus b square. So as they are asking us to find out the induced current here, first of all let me find out the induced EMF here. So induced EMF is equal to d phi by dt. So this will become, differentiate this one, dB by dt into pi into a square plus b square, because area is not changing, only the magnetic field is changing through this one. So now the current is equal to E by R, that is induced EMF by resistance of this loop, which is given by dB by dt into pi into a square plus b square by R. And here it is given that the dB by dt value is equal to K. So the value of this one, induced current, is equal to K into pi into A square plus B square by, what is the resistance of this one? Resistance per unit length is lambda. So what is the total resistance of this loop? This is 2 pi A, because circumference of the first loop. This is 2 pi B, and already I told you this length is negligible here. So I am going to take length of this one L1 plus L2 is equal to 2 pi into A plus B. But total resistance is given by R is equal to resistance per unit length is this much. So lambda into total length is equal to 2 pi into A plus B. Now you can cancel this and this. So the final answer is A square plus B square into K by 2 lambda into A plus B. This is the induced EMF in the first case. Now, in the second case, you can see flux is passing through only this area. We need to consider only this flux. So, the total flux will be different from the first coil here. In case 2, here, the total flux is given by the magnetic field into the total area, which is equal to pi into A square minus B square. So EMF is equal to d phi by dt, which is equal to dB by dt of pi into A square minus B square. We know this is K, so this EMF is equal to K into pi into A square minus B square. Now the current is equal to E by R. So this is K into pi into A square minus B square by, resistance will be same as it is similar to the previous case, that is 2 pi into A plus B into lambda. So this is 2 pi into lambda into A plus B. You can cancel this pi and pi here. The current through this circuit is given by this K into A minus B into A plus B by 2 lambda into A plus B. This and get cancelled. Current through this one is given by K into A minus B by 2 lambda. This is the current in the second case. And in the third case also, here you can see, here flux is entering here, this is flux is entering here, but the wires are different here. So there is no joint between these two. So the total flux here, it should be taken as positive. Here the flux should be taken as negative. So as it is, finally, you will get the same expression for case 3 also. Eddy currents, discovered by a scientist called Foucault. So that's why these eddy currents are also called Foucault currents. Now, eddies means the swirling eddies that you might have seen in case of water, the whirlpools. Here also, when the bulk pieces of metal are subjected to changing magnetic field. So eddy currents are produced when bulk pieces of metal are subjected to changing magnetic field. Then eddy currents are produced here. Here, let me explain this concept with a simple diagram here. So let me take one magnetic pole here. This is a magnetic pole. This is the south pole of a big magnet, and opposite to this we have one more magnetic pole. This is a north pole here, so which is not visible here. This is not visible. So this is the north pole of this one. So between these two there is some gap, and through this gap magnetic field lines always flows from north pole to south pole. So field lines are passing like this. So entering into this south pole. That's why I am indicating the field with intos here, because field lines are starting from north pole and entering into south pole here. This is the direction of the magnetic field. Now here, let us say one plate is suspended here. A metallic plate is suspended here from a rigid support. This is a rigid support. So this is a metallic plate. Remember students, here when this is suspended and it is allowed to vibrate between these two magnetic poles, here field is passing from north pole to south pole. So as a result, when it comes to this position, when it is coming towards this position, when it is vibrating about this mean position here, so when it is coming into this one, the field lines through the metallic blocks, bulk pieces here, when the field lines through the metallic block are increasing, here 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, slowly the number of lines through the metal block bulk piece will increase here. So as the number of field lines are increasing, flux through this one will increase. According to Lenz law, a EMF will be induced here and a current flows through this one such that it will always try to oppose the flux. So as it is entering, while entering into this one, here the field due to induced current should oppose the flux. So here as it is increasing to try to decrease the flux. So what happens? The flux due to the induced current should be outwards. When the flux is outwards, current direction should be anti-clock here. So current will flow like this. So this is a complete, these are the circulating currents. That means circulating current means it moves in a circular path. So these are the currents that are circulating in anti-clockwise direction. Now as it leaves this one, the same this plate, when it leaves this plate here, field here, then what happens here? As it is leaving, the number of field lines are decreasing now. As the flux is decreasing, the direction of the current should be such that it will try to increase the current. So to increase this current, the field line should enter into this one. Due to this, current is in a clockwise direction. This is a clockwise direction. Here current is when it is leaving the field, the direction of current will change. So while entering the field the current direction is, while entering the field, current is anti-clockwise direction. While leaving the field, current direction is clockwise. So direction of current is changing while it is vibrating between these 2 points like this. Now from this we can say, due to this induced current, the temperature of this metal block will increase. Why? Because heat will be dissipated here, the energy will be dissipated. Heat dissipated is given by I square R. So as I is more, R is resistance of this metal block, then energy will be dissipated in the form of heat here. But afterwards it is found, that means when it is entering into this one, current will be induced such that it will not allow this block to enter into this one. That means it cannot move freely between the 2 magnetic poles here. So while moving, a damping will be produced here. That's why it is called damped oscillations. These are not called free oscillations, damped oscillations. So this metal block or metal plate will make damped oscillations due to the induced current that are induced here, and these are not currents that are passing along a straight line. These are the currents that are circulating here. The circular currents produced in the bulk piece of metal piece subject to the metal magnetic field is called eddy currents or Foucault currents. Now in the same case, now instead of a complete metal block, let us say if you make some slots here like this, slotted metal block, then when it is entering, here also induced current will be induced here, currents will be induced here in the same direction as it is while entering, it will be anti-clockwise direction. Now the space for these currents to circulate will be less. That's why the induced current will be less here when compared to the previous case. Now the induced current can be reduced here. So slots, metal blocks with slots, metal plates with slots will produce less eddy currents. Here, as the area of this block decreases, we know resistance is equal to rho L by A. When area decreases, resistance increases. When the resistance increases, current decreases here. The current will decrease. As the current decreases, heat resistance will be reduced. And you may have a doubt. Sorry, we are telling that resistance will increase. When compared to the increase in resistance, the decrease in current is predominant here. That's why heat resistance will be very, very less when compared to the complete block and the slotted or block with some holes. That's why in all these electric devices where we are using this magnetic field and metal, they are in just like a transformer. Here, when a metal is placed between two north and south poles of a big magnet, so generally we use these slotted metal blocks instead of a single metal block to reduce these eddy currents. So how to minimize these eddy currents? Eddy currents can be minimized by using a solid metallic core is replaced with a large number of thin sheets. Instead of using a single metallic core in these transformers or electric motors, instead of that if we use a number of metal plates that are arranged parallel to each other, so these area will be decreased, resistance will increase, due to this current will decrease here, the circulating currents will be decreased here. Similarly, if you insulate this one between these two, if you insulation is used, the insulating metal cores will not allow this current produced here into this one, so that these currents cannot be added there, so that also this eddy currents can be reduced. Now, what are the applications of eddy currents? The first one is induction furnace. In the induction furnace, when a metal block is placed, so these are the two strong magnetic poles here. A metal block will be placed between the two magnetic poles. Due to the high resistance of this one, first of all, this magnetic field will change periodically or with time. Due to this time varying magnetic field, eddy currents will be developed here. As the resistance of this metal will be more, then so we have to see that the resistance of this one will be more. So now, as the resistance increases, the high square or that heat produced in the metal block will be too high. Due to this heat, the metal itself will melt. So this is the method of separating the metal from ores that are available in the nature. Similarly, the second one, electric power meters. You might have seen this analog meters that we are using in our home to measure, to take the readings of this one. So in this you can see a shiny metal plate rotates around this one. Actually, the input current from the electric poles will be given here. The output will be taken into our house here. As it is a sinusoidal current, AC current, which varies its magnitude like this, periodically as well as with the time, the magnetic, this electric current will change. The changing electric currents will produce a magnetic field here. This magnetic field will induce some currents in this rotating disc. These currents are called eddy currents. Due to the effect of these eddy currents, this disc will rotate and it gives the reading here. These are electric power motors. So here also we are using the eddy currents. The third one, magnetic braking trains. Now, if you take some trains which travels on these specially laid rails, just above this one, the magnetic horse or strong magnets are provided here, situated here, just above this one. When these magnets are activated, due to the activation of strong magnets, when the train comes here, due to the activation of these strong magnets, eddy current will be produced here, which opposes the motion of the train here. So these eddy currents will oppose the motion of this train. Due to this, the braking will be smooth here. That means smooth braking can takes place in case of this magnetic braking system in trains. And the fourth one, electromagnetic damping. Generally in a galvanometer, pointer will show 0. Whenever some current is passed through this one, it will give some reading. When it moves in this one, a non-magnetic material will be provided at the center of this pointer, which produces eddy currents here. These eddy currents will bring this pointer back to its original position when the current is removed from the circuit. So who is providing this one? The eddy currents produced in the non-metallic box that is used in the galvanometer. So that is called electromagnetic damping, bringing back this pointer to its original position.